Seine Mutter gebe ihn eine Dicke Decke. Das ist nicht gut. Was ist das, Brothers? Hello, hola, bonjour, guten Tag, and gouda. I brought a little note sheet today so I get a little less tongue-twisted and tongue-tied, because once the camera turns on, my brain turns to mush and I can't remember anything I wanted to say. Yesterday I called this a brick wall. I have no idea why. It's obviously concrete. Or is it cement? You know, I don't actually know the difference. If you want to criticize me, feel free to do it in the comments. So last night we ordered from BenVenitos, which is an Italian restaurant. And it's pretty obvious that the name of the restaurant means welcome, because Ben means well, Venitos is welcome. But the weird thing to me was that it ended with an S, which is like really strange. Why? It's not, you don't, in English, you don't say welcomes. So I looked it up. In Spanish, you say bienvenidos, which is the same thing, welcomes. It's like, why is it plural? Then I thought a little more. It's like in English, if you were to use it as a sentence, you'd say like, you are welcome. So welcome's kind of acting as an adjective. See, so in French or Spanish or Italian, you have to match it to the noun that you're talking about. So if it's you and you is plural, you'd say, ustedes están bienvenidos. And if it's singular, you'd say, usted está bienvenido. Or bienvenida, because in Spanish and Italian and all that, you have to actually care whether or not things are masculine or feminine. So even saying hello is more complicated in those languages than it is in English. I took some notes on the stuff I was reading today. I finally, 3 books into the French book, I realized that one of the characters was a marchombre, and I realized finally that that's a shadow walker. It's like, I thought it was just some random letters thrown together, but it finally makes sense. Marche for walk, ombre for shadow, marchombre. An interesting sentence I found was, tu es de loin le plus sensé. Tu es de loin le plus sensé des trois. You are the most sensible of the 3. I thought that was interesting because it's almost exactly the same wording you'd use in English, except obviously translated, word for word. One of the characters was really happy, and in the book it wrote, Il était au ange. Ange. Il était au ange, which means he is with the angels, literally. But it really means, what would the English version be? It would be his head's in the clouds, maybe, or I can't think right now of what the idiom would be. I was paying a little more attention to the Spanish, and the word capitulo is the word for chapter. That was a little strange because the false friend there is capitulate. It's like, it's not capitulate 6, it's chapter 6, but that would still be capitulo in Spanish. Encantar was an interesting Spanish word. It means enchanted, or it means love. Like if you love something, you encantarlo. But the cognate in English is enchanted. One of the characters at one point gets offered a Magdalena, which meant fairy cake. That's how it was translated anyway. But I'm an American and I had no idea what that meant. So I had to look it up. A fairy cake is a small cupcake with drizzled icing on top. Not like tons of frosting on top, just a little bit of like sugar icing on the top. Magdalena. In German, there was one interesting part which I misunderstood a lot when I first read it. Seine Mutter gebe ihn eine Dicke Decke. Das ist nicht gut. Was ist das, Brothers? But then I looked up what Dicke Decke meant, and just meant thick blanket. It's not. The word for field of view was Blickfeld, which is strange. A blink field? Your blink field is your field of view? It's like, I'm not sure Blick translates exactly to blink, but maybe it means closer to gaze. One last thing that was interesting, brr, 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 translated literally to brr. They were exactly the same spelling and sound in German as in English, except maybe in German you roll your R's a little bit. So moving on to Norwegian. I'm still learning a lot here. I learned, for instance, today that translates to B-O with a line through it. I think it's pronounced bo, bo, bo. Translates to boo, boo, boo. Cacao, probably not pronouncing it right. K-A-K-A-O. Translates to cocoa, which if you're not from the Midwest, you probably call it hot chocolate. Just a drink. And the last word I learned, which I thought I already knew, was hoofda. Apparently is how you spell it. With an H on the beginning. I'd always heard it as oofda when people say it, but maybe I had bad hearing, or maybe it's regional how you pronounce that word. Do some people say oofda and some people say hoofda? Maybe it's a Swedish Norwegian thing. I don't know. So I've been making pretty good progress. The hardest part is getting through the French every day. That takes me about half hour because finishing an entire book in a month is about 2 to 3 chapters. And I have to still look up about one word every couple sentences. Although in some sentences the author goes a little crazy and I have to look up like 5 words or translate whole phrases. But sometimes it just flies right by as I understand every word. It really depends on how much dialogue there is. The dialogue really makes things go faster. Probably because the characters speak dumber than the narrator does. On the plus side, I'm learning French really fast. Just from the sheer number of words I have to read every day to finish the book in time. Anyway, auf Wiedersehen. Although I guess I won't see you